Evan, it's been a long week for me. I've
Us
seen,
both, Kimosabi. Us
dude,
both.
dude. I mean, the Wings have lost three in a row. They're going to lose tonight, and I think the entire city of Detroit's going to end up in a depression if the Pistons don't make the playoffs, which I think they will. But my bold take of the week is that the Detroit Red Wings will not make the playoffs. I mean, dude, it's been a crazy week. What do you think about that take?
I
You,
mean, I don't want to say I told you so, 'cause I do.
okay, okay.
But at the same time, this season, are you calling it a failed season then?
Yes, I'm calling this a failed season. I think Eiserman's on the hot
Really?
seat. Yeah, dude.
Even after all the praises you've said through the past, I don't know, 2 months?
I look at this like any normal person should. You have a roster of all stars, of arguably probably the best roster we've had in a while for the Red Wings.
Right.
With what they're paying them and what we're paying to go to games. I mean, a beer is $15 at a Red Wings game.
Oh, I know. We paid at the Duel in the D, and
Yeah,
I spent $70 for 4 beers. I
yeah.
was like, what is this capital society doing to me?
Dude, and it's one of those things that you pay outrageous prices. John and Ratsai were saying it last week. You got to make the playoffs. And my thing is, if they lose tonight, that all goes out the window. Because we lost three in a row, and the fact that the New York Rangers won in that last game. The Red Wings are now officially out of the wild card spot, and I think it's going to just keep going down. I think it's going to be a repeat of last year, where we were one game away from last year's record, one win, if in the positive. But I don't think anything else is. I think it's gonna be the same thing year in and year out. And I want Steve Eisenman fired. If they don't make the playoffs this year, I want him fired.
Understandably so. So, what has caused you guys then to skid, so to speak? I know you guys lost the Stadium Series.
Yeah. Which I mean, we can get into that in a second here. One of my things is that we've been playing good teams. You play a team like like Carolina. They're a playoff squad in the
Oh,
Metropolitan,
absolutely.
and they're vying for a first place position in the Metropolitan. They're a lot away, but they're probably in the upper echelons of that
Oh,
Eastern Conference
absolutely.
teams. The Capitals are obviously killing everything. It's amazing.
I would have never saw that coming if you asked me that at the beginning of the year.
But you look at its squad like Columbus, we got two unlucky breaks with them. We lose an LCA at home. I think that had to do with a lot of our inability to capitalize on that power play during that game. And along with that, when you go 33% on the power play, 1 for 3, and then you give 13 giveaways and only have four takeaways, that's going to kill you. Those numbers, and then just our ability, like we shot 31 times and you only get 2 goals and they get 5. I mean, you got to get some puck luck. Obviously, that first game killed us. We go down to Columbus, and we play a pretty good game. We shot 46 times on them. The goalie saved, basically all but 3 shots on 46 attempts. I mean, that
Wow.
that
Wow.
is impressive from a standpoint. But one of my things is the refs didn't help us out. There should have been some calls.
Now, hold up.
Oh, okay.
You can't blame the refs for everything.
I'm not blaming the refs for everything, but that play on Danforth, that was a high sticking penalty. He hit a guy right in the face, and the fact that the refs didn't say, "Hold up, wait a minute, we got that wrong. We need to go back and look at this and call it right," says to me that the NHL does not give a shit about the Detroit Red Wings anymore. And
But you're saying they favor Columbus? How?
I think, the way these past 3 games have been called, and there's been some missed calls in the recent 2, the one outside and then the one inside, that I was just kind of like scratching my head. The Wings lost the Hurricanes 2-1. They played a decent game, but the missed calls are what I was glaring to me. And
So
then
you're saying the NHL has favorites? How?
I think the refs have teams that they look at and it's like, all right, this team looks like they're going to make a big deep run in the playoffs. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But it's like, I can
Hold up,
count
though.
like
Hold up.
multiple times during that game, one in the first period, one in the second period, and twice in the third, that the refs miss another penalty, a hit from behind. In the second, or in the first, refs clearly missed another penalty, hit from behind on Mott, that should have been a penalty. And, eventually it's called, but it's like, It's one of those things that if you're going to call the game tic-tac-toe, if I'm going to hit your stick out of your hand and then you're not going to call a penalty on that, but I get drilled from behind, you're not going to call it, like, call the game 50-50.
Well, yes, but I don't think they have, so to speak, favorites. Because look at it this way, to your point of, make a deep playoff run. I mean, we look back last year, it was the last year's Capitals
Yeah.
needed a win against you guys to make it in the playoffs. Yes, they did. But at the same time, the big storyline was like, Ovi's on a tear. Does he come back? Is he playing?
Yeah.
Whatnot, anything. To your point, how are the Capitals, who barely were scraping by currently or last year and needed a win against you guys to make it to the
Yeah.
playoffs, now this year vying for the President's Trophy? This is the same Capitals team. They didn't add anyone. They didn't
Okay.
subtract
So you're
anyone.
trying to say, how can the Red Wings be in the same position because they didn't add anyone new, nor did the Capitals, but the Capitals figured it out. The
I mean,
Wings,
still though, everyone was like, Ovi's probably retiring. Ovi's getting
yeah,
old.
he is.
Ovi's probably just going to end and walk into the sunset. Now we see Ovi 10 goals away from beating the great one in a President's Trophy vying
Yeah.
Capitals team, which I myself would have predicted not even a chance in hell to happen. I predicted the Capitals to be bottom 5.
Yeah.
This is not the Capitals team I thought would be in front of us. I mean, they didn't add anyone in the draft. That was notable.
Okay.
They didn't add anyone in free agency. And their goalie, I didn't even, unless their goalie played for Hershey, I've never heard of him until now.
I really do think that the problem is with the Red Wings is they play in probably the toughest division in hockey, the Atlantic Eastern Conference Division. You got Florida, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Columbus, Ottawa, Rangers, and then the Wings, and that's how it's
Rangers
going right
are
now.
in Metro.
Oh yeah, they're in the Metro. No, they're in the.
Yeah.
Okay,
Columbus
so
and New York are in the Metro.
okay, so the wild card works as in it's just a combination of the bottom tier
It would
teams
be,
and the.
so one of them comes from the Atlantic.
Okay.
And then the other comes from the Metro.
Okay, I wasn't understanding that. Okay, that's good
It is
to
a little
know.
weird. It is the weirdest
that
thing, because
is-
so the one seed in the whole Eastern Conference
Yeah.
plays the lowest from either the Metro or
Okay, that's
it could
weird.
be
then.
either or. It doesn't matter
Why
who.
don't they just do it like football, where it's like
Well, look
the
at the
NFC
point.
versus
Well, you
AFC?
think about it this way too. The weird how you determine where you are in the standings is points. I mean,
Yeah, so it's
if
not
you
even
win
wins
in
or losses.
overtime, it counts against you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you lose in overtime, it even screws you even more.
Okay,
You take a look at my Maple Leafs. We're right now technically the one seed in the Atlantic,
yeah, true.
but because we have more overtime losses than Florida,
yeah,
we're technically tied for second, which makes no sense.
yeah. I mean, and then
Washington's
in the President's Trophy.
Exactly.
Like you said.
It's like, I don't know. I still always question. I'm like, so how do you tell which team is going to actually do it? Because some teams are tied in the standings, but like you look at it and you're like, well, what are you talking about? This team, like you look at it right now, New York is out of the playoff race at 67 points.
But they're
Ottawa
tied
has
with
67
that
points.
is weird because they have
So
more.
How do you decide? Like, is it even
I
amount of
think
Metro?
I really do think you do one game to win it all. You do a one game playoff to get that last wild card
That's
spot.
what they should. We're talking about last year because there was so much anomalies, craziness, and everything. But that's the weird part with how you determine who's his seating. I mean, the closeness of it all. I forget the year it was. There was a team that we had at least 85 points.
That's crazy that the fact that
didn't even make the playoffs.
That's nuts, folks.
If you have 85 points and it's just because of like certain losses in overtime or whatnot, and that's the only reason you don't get it.
You should make the playoffs. But back to our discussion of the Wings, and you compare them against the Washington Capitals, who really didn't add any pieces. You got David Perron leaving. You got guys like that. A lot of guys that I thought were going to be key players this season left the Red Wings organization, and
but
they
the
refilled.
Youth has showed, though.
The youth has showed, and that's the only promising part, is that the youth has showed. I think they should bring up a lot of guys, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do here as far as the youth in this trade deadline.
Trade deadline ends tomorrow at 7.
Yes,
so
and one of my
you got to make a move fast.
And one of my things, and I'm kind of scared about the trade deadline because our head coach, goes out and says the trade deadline. Todd said, don't be sitting there thinking the cavalry is coming. we need the cavalry, because my problem with the Wings right now, like,
Agreed,
yes,
but
the goalies are
not much
suspect.
on the deadline. You don't need a goalie right now.
I agree with that. I don't think we need a goalie. I think Alex Lyon and Talbot are good goalies as of right now. Sure, they have falters. Sure, they make mistakes in games.
But you got the farm that's coming right up. So
exactly. My thing is we need a goal scorer. We need a guy who can put the puck in the net. Larkin can't do it. He looks like he's lost out there on the ice ever since he got back from the Four Nations. I think he's playing hurt in a way. I think he's wincing through injuries and trying to keep the boys kind of going. But if you want a goal scorer, it wasn't that guy this year. Kane wasn't that guy this year. I mean, we need some production out of the Chicago boys.
But then that takes away from them. Then that might take.
But they're not producing. So
right,
we need to.
Maybe they're having a slump, sure. But like, what if
a slump all year, dude? I mean, Alex DeBrincat obviously is the standout guy right now. He scored 8 goals in the 8 past games. I'm talking about before the Hurricanes game. So he's on a kind of a tear a little bit, but Patrick Kane needs. I mean, both these guys are so streaky. I mean,
Kane's also older.
Yeah, but I need some more leadership, some more passing. So I need something from one of these guys. I mean, Soderblom and Rasmussen, him being out hurts the Red Wings so much.
Right. So if by goal scorer, are you saying like pure goal scorer like Austin Matthews? Or are you asking for like a
pure? I'm looking for a sniper like Alexander Ovechkin. I mean, obviously you're gonna have to trade a lot of way to get that.
And there's no way they would.
I mean, exactly. But I'm saying is that's what the Wings need to get to the upper echelons.
I know he just got traded from Avalanche to Carolina, but would you want Mikko?
I mean, if he can improve our goals per game and get us some viable offense. My problem is these past games with the Wings playing, like, for instance, the Carolina game. Let's look at that, for instance. You know, you take a team in the Wings, they have a killer power play. They've had it ever since the kind of the break, Christmas break. They go 0 for 3 on the power play. You can't do that. And then you can't also have a face-off percentage below 50%. You let Carolina control the puck off the face-off. They get 30 shots. They get 23 hits. Obviously, a little bit more physical, but you can't win, 10 face-offs less than your opponent at home. You got to be able to win. That Larkin's not winning face-offs. And, I mean, even though you got 20 block shots, it's like one of those things that no matter what, Carolina had the most of the pressure. They had the puck, like, majority of the time, and they were just teeing up on Detroit. Soderblom pulled a Jaromir Jagr move and skated down the ice and made a great move and shot a net and scored. And that was the kind of like the only bright spot in Detroit. They had an opportunity with a couple minutes left. They couldn't control the puck with 6 men on the ice. I mean, you got to be able to control the puck, especially if you're on the power play. Like, I was watching these power plays, dude. It looked like Carolina had 5 guys. It was like, what are we doing from that aspect? We're playing too much east to west. I think we're thinking too much. Again, it's like that, as they were talking about, those 2 guys, John and Ratai, they were saying, all due respect to the previous coaches in Detroit, they had the guys think too much. I think, when teams feel this pressure to win, these young guys falter and they try to create and try to keep turning over the puck. And that was one of my big things that has lost to Carolina, is that they kept turning over the puck consistently. It's frustrating watching these guys because we can see when they're at their best. We've seen them at their best, and you're like, "Wow, this team is actually really good." But it was the kind of trajectory was the same as last year, and that's the thing I'm kind of upset about. Is that even though this team looks better on paper and has won a lot more, like arguably points, and like has beat some teams that like last year I thought they couldn't beat, and they look. They got 2 7-game win streaks. They didn't have that last year. They nearly made the playoffs, but nearly isn't good enough for me.
My worry is this. Yes. If you want a sniper, isn't that going to take away from the offense, so to speak? Like, everyone's going to be like, oh, focus on him, focus on him. Wouldn't that take away from the team dynamic in a way?
See, I really do think the way the dynamic is right now is that everyone doesn't want the puck. Everyone doesn't want to be that shooter. Everyone wants to pass. Everyone wants to make the pretty play. No one wants to put the puck on the net. We've seen it all year. These guys love to pass. No one loves to shoot. I think we need a guy with a happy trigger finger, per se, and then just rifling them.
I think you have one. He just hasn't shown up this season.
It's a Brinket.
No, Tarasenko. Tarasenko in his years past has been arguably the purest goal scorer, not named Austin Matthews, in the last decade.
Yeah,
he's just gotten, obviously, age has caught up to him.
Okay.
Truthfully, he is that pure goal scorer you need. You just need him to turn it on.
Give me some words of wisdom. What do you think I should expect from the trade deadline Do you think? I mean, they kind of made a deal.
I don't think you're adding anything, and nor do I think my Leafs are either.
Okay. So what do you think if Detroit doesn't make the playoffs? Do you think that I'm sitting here in a position, I'm pissed off, we should have made the playoffs 2 years in a row now? Do you think give Yzerman another year, let him make magic in the offseason, and then we reload? Like,
well, here's the nice thing. You have a wonderful farm system in youth.
Yeah.
My issue is just what next? Because think about it this way. You look at the Griffins. I haven't checked the standings recently to tell you. But the last time I did check, they are at least in the top echelon of AHL teams currently right now.
Okay. Yeah.
That gives us a lot of hope in future, given that it is.
I mean, dude, I'm sick and tired of talking about hope. Like I dealt it with the Lions. That was a corny joke. Jeez, people give him a boo in the comments below. No, but like one of my things is that like we look at for instance, the Detroit Pistons, and I mean, I'm not asking for a turnaround like this from the Wings, but I'm asking them, they need to win tonight. Like this game that turned into like, yes, we have one of the hardest, schedules going out, but this game is a must win for this team. And I mean, they should win this game. Arguably,
the word is should.
I mean, we're right now, Utah is actually the money line is in favor of Utah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. It's
speaking of Utah. What do you think the name's going to be?
It can't be Yeti. So
why?
Because that's I think a trademark name by the company Yeti. I'm not sure. What do you think the name is going to be?
I would say I'm hoping it's something to do with like winter-esque.
Yeah, I think
love
it's gonna
how
be.
the Avalanche. I mean, that's sick.
Yeah,
I hope it's something to do with like. I'm not Utah's geographic stuff or stuff that like could happen or be in Utah. No, I'm not saying the Utah Mormons. I'm not saying the Utah Joseph Smiths. No.
Yeah, that would be kind of absurd.
It's the Utah Joseph Smiths versus the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, I mean...
but no, I think it's going to be something like a mythical creature, like how Seattle did the Kraken.
What about the Outlaws? The Utah Outlaws. I like that. I mean,
maybe, but like the way we see their color scheme currently right now leads me to be something that's more
I mean, but they could definitely. I mean, I like Utah Hockey Club. I think that
cool.
Remember the Washington football team? I mean, I like that. That's a
true. But I honestly think it's going to be a mythical creature of sorts.
Fair.
Like we saw Seattle Kraken, and I mean, that's phenomenal. If I'm being honest.
Speaking of mythical creatures, and you mentioned them earlier,
the Red Wings playoff chances.
No, besides that, Alexander Ovechkin. 10 goals away. He's on pace to beat them, I believe, in 15 games from now. He's scheduled to, like, kind of that's what ESPN was talking about this morning. The latest would be the last game of the season on April 17th. But, I mean, this is crazy.
Watch I never do it against the Wings.
That's an, God, that's not happening. That's nearly impossible.
What do you mean?
They're playing them this weekend.
I know. He scores 3 and then 3.
And then so you're saying, okay, I mean,
I'm kidding. I mean,
that'd be kind of an exclamation point. I'd be kind of embarrassed if we gave up that many goals to Alexander Ovechkin. But what he has done for this game, and we talk about the GOAT conversation in the basketball world. We're going to bring that up later tonight.
Though, I don't know if you know this, ESPN is trying to air more Capitals games.
Yeah,
which is taking away from their legendary announcer.
Which is sad. I mean, they should feature him in the game.
I would hope so because, like, if you look at all of his calls, I mean, he's called 90% of Ovi's goals.
Yeah, which is
and the fact that ESPN is just like, give us the game. It's like, no, let the home announcer do his thing. I mean,
exactly.
The dude has been basically in Ovi's career for calling goals.
Yeah, his entire professional career.
His whole career.
Yeah, and I mean that's.
I hope it's a game where ESPN doesn't televise it, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, and then that's one of the things that's frustrating from my perspective is that, like, I'd rather hear about it in the news the next day. Like, I want to see him obviously break the record, but I'd rather not watch the game. I'd rather see it on a replay or whatnot.
Really?
Because,
why?
I mean, I think, as you're saying, ESPN's taken away from the fact that, that the announcer is, calling all of Ovi's goals. And if ESPN comes in every night and is like, oh, he's going to do it tonight, he's going to do it next night, like, yeah, it's great for the game of hockey. Everyone knows about it. But it's one of those things that, like, it's not the same. You know what I mean? It's like if Ken Cal was not calling Red Wings games anymore due to, like, Pavel Datsuk doing the same thing for a Russian hockey player. Like, I think it comes down to its tradition. I think there's a lot of aspects with hockey, with tradition. And I think it's, one of the better things about hockey. I think he does it.
Because there is technically exactly a month before the season ends.
So I think he does it in 6 games. I think he has a kind of a scoring tear here, and he does it in 6 games. I think that'd be, impressive for him to do.
6 games would be, let me pull this
Yeah.
up.
But, speaking of a tradition like no other, did you see the Tom Wilson Brady Chuck fight?
Oh, God. Another one. Tom Wilson getting in another fight.
Yeah, dude. Tom Wilson's a dog. I mean, I like Brady Chuck. I like the bigger guys. But
Brady just likes to fight.
I like fights, man. I mean, they should let him go more often. I'm kind of pissed off that the refs don't let people, the Detroit Red Wings go. But we're a very chippy team.
6 games, so that would put you at next week Wednesday. So
yeah, next Wednesday. I think they're just doing it next Wednesday. I mean, you call me crazy, but
would be playing. You have him scoring on the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, just destroying. But
tickets as low as $20.
Gibson made a hell of a play the other night with that behind the back save. That was incredible.
Blast from the past. Gibson is. Oh, I miss prime John Gibson.
Yeah, he was a great goalie back in the day. But
he was.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you want to talk about prime and in their prime. We were going to talk about a team right now in a Michigan State who is looking. They have control of the Big Ten right now.
I mean,
Michigan's falters.
This is vintage MSU right here. I mean.
Yeah, and I think, with some other teams losing that are above them right now, I think it's going to be one of those things that Michigan State does have the opportunity to kind of get in the upper echelons before the season's over. I think they're my clear Big Ten favorites to win it, besides maybe, Maryland, the Terrapins are turning it on a little bit. I really liked what I saw out of Rice and a few other guys.
The Michigan guy talking good about the opponent?
Yeah, I know. And Miguel, Seton Miguel, he looked great. He had 34 minutes and he had 17 points. Same with Rodney Rice with 19. I mean, those guys, the way they shoot the ball. Rodney Rice was, 4 from 9 from deep, and Miguel was 3 from 7. I mean, and then they were also they outshot Michigan. They outplayed Michigan, but Michigan, I mean, you want to talk about a dumpster fire, like a major dumpster fire?
Please tell me.
Oh, I mean, dude, get 16 turnovers.
You guys are 350th ranked out of 355 teams in turnovers.
I mean, you can't win that way. And we saw an example of it versus a good Maryland team.
And a good Michigan State team, either.
Yeah, and for majority of the game, they were shooting terribly. So, I was sitting there, I was getting annoyed. It was one of those things that, it was like, I was like, what are we doing from an aspect of coaching? I don't know what, May's doing. It's like you're running the same shit night in, night out, expecting different results. The definition of insanity. I mean, when you have first half 13 turnovers like that, that's going to kill you. And you only score 22 points, the season low at a halftime score, and shooting terribly and doing all the bad things. And then, Dan Wolf had 11. The rest of the team had 11. Now, I know Michigan kind of turned it on in that second half and kind of made it an interesting game, but, they got back within 2 multiple times and just couldn't get over that hump because of the turnovers, because of the bad play, because of taking bad shots from Donaldson or from other guys. It's so frustrating because this team could be so good if they just take care of the ball and play their game and not force things. I felt like they were just kept trying to force plays the entire time. Michigan State obviously is going to be the clear out winner. I think it's going to be even a bigger embarrassment when we go into the Breslin. I think it's going to be a blow up by Michigan State in the last game of the season. What are your thoughts on that?
I hope so, but here's the thing. Michigan State doesn't really blow you out. I still think it's going to be a battle, but here's the fun thing that I can tell you about MSU.
I disagree with that.
I don't see it's going to be a blowout. I think it's obviously going to be close because, it is senior night for Michigan State too.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think Michigan State's going to play the game they always have been playing all year round. They don't
small ball, but yeah, I mean, but the way they are on the boards and the way Michigan, at least Golden, has been playing, and then Wolf on the other side, they're not rebounding.
Right.
But you get out
you guys
rebounded
are still going to give us a chance. I'm going to give you that right here and there.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. I just think it's going to be.
Yeah, but think about it this way. If you were texting me earlier saying, hey, MSU's down by a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Just give it time.
Yeah, okay.
Michigan State does not come off the boards fast. We know this.
Yeah.
But we've seen time and time again, the past 5 games, when they played Illinois, the last time Illinois scored in that game was when it was 8 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
8 minutes without a bucket. When we played you guys, your last bucket you scored was with 4 minutes left in the game.
Yeah. It's that defense. That's that identity.
Clamps,
that
the
team.
fact that Michigan State can literally hold you. The Illinois is a great example of it. For almost 10 minutes without scoring in a single point, while Michigan State's just like dribble, score, shoot, rebound. If good luck playing that. I saw a stat earlier today saying that if Michigan State wins outright the rest of the year, wins it and just makes it to the Big Ten final, just makes it.
Yeah.
Because the game, I mean, yes, it is meaningful, but if you're playing some team that you've played in the season, already beat, whatever, you have a chance to be a 1 seed right there.
Yeah,
because you have 13 quality wins en route to the Big Ten championship.
Yeah. And I mean, your guys,
you want that if you are MSU. You just like all you need to do is just go to the tourney. As long as you make it to the finals, you're sitting pretty. I mean, you could lose it, sure, it would suck.
Yeah,
but as long as you make it to there, you're guaranteed at least a 1.
Yeah, and
I mean, the very worst, you're a 2.
Yeah. I think Michigan State does have a great upside. I think another thing that you kind of have to look out for here, and a guy who's kind of turned it on the past couple games, and it's really crazy to see here, is Jace Richardson. I mean,
kid's a freshman and playing like his dad.
Yeah, he has 21. He scored 21 versus Michigan, which was the reason kind of why you kind of culminated that win. Besides your killer defense, but he's good
Jace.
on the.
It's Jace. Yeah, Jace is the reason we won. I mean, the kid's a freshman. It's insane.
Yeah, and he's shooting above 52% from field goal range. So that's great to see. That kid's that accurate. You know, he had 11 points. And you know, versus Wisconsin.
Wisco was a battle. That was a battle.
And then he had 15 points versus Maryland, 21 versus Michigan, 12 versus Purdue, and then 11 versus Illinois. He's really putting it up when the points matter, but this kid's on a tear. I mean, are you afraid he's going to be a one and done type of guy?
Nope. He has already said he's not.
Okay, good. I mean, that's my biggest thing.
The dude came off the bench at the beginning of the year. The dude was a bench player.
Yeah.
And the dude still isn't the starter because, he's a point guard, but you still got Jaden Akins, who is the starting point guard.
And he looks good as well. I mean, he's scoring some.
He's shooting from the 3, which Michigan State is not the best 3-point shooter, which, I mean, doesn't hurt us, honestly. I could care less if we're making or missing 3s.
Yeah, but But you guys are 6.5 point favorites over the Iowa Hawkeyes.
I don't see Iowa as a challenge. I see.
Okay, so you think it's a cakewalk?
I know the trap. No, it's not. The Big Ten's no cakewalk.
Okay, so you think it's going to be a. Because it is at
it is in Ames.
It's a Carver Hawkeye Arena. Yeah.
So it's in Iowa, but at the same time, I'm never gonna say if I'm Michigan State, no game is a cakewalk. We looked at UCLA and USC, and both of those were losses. I mean, both of those should have been wins.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna overlook any team by any stretch, but I will say we're more concerned about the game in Breslin.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about that just solely because
Michigan's a better opponent than Iowa.
Exactly. In at least this year in time. I mean, we've seen Iowa be better, sure. But at the same time, there is still a 1.5 game lead over you guys currently right now in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Can't let anything to chance.
No. And I mean, as much as, even though Michigan's playing like absolute dog crap, it is interesting to see that you're only, 1 game up of us.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't want to leave anything to chance, if I'm being honest. I want nothing to chance.
I feel that. Now, a team that's kind of living on a prayer and their journey has kind of been crazy.
That Crimson Tide.
Yeah. Oh, baby. That is.
So my whole saying of Bama is going to be first one out.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm staying with it. I mean,
people were telling me that was a crazy pick, but I could
people
see
did,
it
but
more now.
I mean, Bama's not playing good. I mean, you lost to Florida, and Florida's a top 4 team.
Yeah,
but at the same time, guess who you get to play away from home this weekend?
Auburn,
the best team in the country.
Well, they just lost to the Aggies.
Yes, but here's the fun part: SEC ball is just you're beating up on everyone. I mean, Ole Miss just beat
the same could be said for the Big Ten as well. And the way they've kind of been. Maryland's, obviously
Maryland was a sneaky favorite. I had, honestly, preseason, I had them as a sneaky chance to win the Big Ten.
So yeah, I mean, it's a turn. It's now we're going into tournament play. Who's your favorite to win the Big Ten, and subsequently, who's your favorite to win the SEC?
MSU.
So MSU for the Big Ten.
The only team that has any chance of upsetting MSU is your Michigan team.
Okay.
If I'm being completely honest, Purdue does not. Purdue looks human.
Okay.
And obviously Maryland, I think Maryland would be the sneaky thing.
Yeah,
but if Maryland has the horrible draw, they're probably going to
get Michigan again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if they get a team that like knows how to beat them already.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Michigan or Michigan State at that point.
And my thing,
Wisco does scare me though. I will give them that. They did scare me in the first half. I will say that, but not to the point where I was worried, because I would always watch the probability meter, and it would still, even though Wisconsin was up by 7, Michigan State was still, the probability meter was still at 64. I'm like, and every time there was another rebound, it would just keep going up. I'm like,
Michigan State does play the better team of Iowa and Wisconsin. Michigan does play the better team of Nebraska and Rutgers.
If you're Michigan, I do worry about playing Rutgers.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. They do have 2 lottery picks.
They do. And it's one of those things that Michigan, whoever moves on between, those two my bad.
Plays Maryland?
No,
where's
sorry,
Maryland
it's out of Minnesota and Wisconsin. Washington. Washington and Minnesota play the winner. Those 2 winners play Michigan, and then we play Maryland. Whoever wins out of those 2 squads, Minnesota, Washington plays Michigan, and then the winner of that plays Maryland the second round. So Michigan State,
Maryland's technically the 2.
Oh, sorry, this is the women's. My bad. I
was like, wait,
I was looking at something else. Sorry there.
Well,
folks.
At least you were right on Michigan State, but I didn't think Michigan State's girls team were the best team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, no,
I was gonna say you got UCLA at number 1 in the country, USC at number 4.
Google is not
USC. No, Iowa I think is like 7.
Yeah,
I know Michigan State's got a ranked team for women's, but
and I mean it's going to be interesting to see kind of what this is.
If we're talking Big Ten, Michigan State, if we're talking SEC, I want to say Auburn, but I also could see Tennessee, because there's just so much chaos that has already happened, and it's not even the tournament yet in the SEC. Who
do you got winning the SEC?
Auburn is my gut tells me Auburn, but my head tells me Tennessee.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I'm going to shock the world here.
Who are you going to say?
Bama. I think they have a redemption track.
Okay, but
I think they
tell me the path they're going through.
So, okay, let's look at the SEC tournament right now.
I'm surprised you didn't say Florida either.
I mean, Florida is also a very, interesting team. Okay, so the update is, this is 2020. What is going on right now with Google? So irrelevant.
Starlink.
I mean, I don't know. I think they can obviously be a tough game versus Florida if they play them. I don't. Okay, here's the 2025. Okay, right here.
Got it.
I believe so.
All right.
Okay,
I have it if you don't.
Yeah. So here it is.
All right. I'm looking at it too as soon as this. All right. Here you go. So
yeah. So you got first round Wednesday. You got South Carolina, Mississippi State. Okay.
Okay.
So Auburn would have to go, or Alabama would have to go either through Texas, LSU, Ole Miss.
You're screwed. You're screwed because they just beat Tennessee.
Okay, so you think that's the better team right there. So you think Ole Miss is winning, and then they're playing Tennessee for that.
I don't think it's, if you're playing Ole Miss, that's not a cakewalk.
Okay, yeah,
so
no, I agree.
You make it the next round, then who you play?
Tennessee.
You're screwed. There you go.
Okay.
There's your loss.
Okay, so you think they're going down to Tennessee, and it's going to be Auburn, Tennessee for that, or even because Auburn has to play Florida. So I could even argue that Florida could make it.
That's the thing. I love how you do say Bama, but here's the thing.
Yeah,
Bama
I mean, I
has
think
they have such a difficult chance to do it because.
Well, let's see what they can do versus Auburn this weekend before we make our real judgment.
If Auburn can win like they did last time in Tuscaloosa, mind you.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind. I mean, yes, Auburn did lose to A&M just recently, but also Player of the Year Johnny Broome did not play well.
Yeah, he did not.
He did not play as well as he normally does. The guy was off, and obviously you can't just blame one guy. But I mean, the guy was, if I'm being honest, not playing as his wooden watch player shows.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think,
who's in the ACC?
The ACC.
It should be obvious.
Duke. Yeah, Duke.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, there's no competition in there.
I mean,
there is. I mean,
maybe, but I mean, there's always a ghost. Give me 10 seconds here to kind of get this the tournament up real quick.
No, you're good. Because like I mean, I'm not a Duke homer, but I mean, Duke made some teams literally look like practice.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then that's.
I don't think they're making. I think they'll make it in the tourney. I mean, I think they'll make it pretty far. I think they're going to run into a team where that can lock them down and just pound the boards. I mean, Cooper Flag is a great player.
Yeah,
but if Cooper Flag is all you have,
that's the issue.
Then you're screwed. Because Auburn has like that one guy, but they also have a ton of super seniors that mesh very well together.
Yeah, I mean. Maybe Clemson?
Clemson did upset Duke earlier in the year.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that.
But it's hard because when it comes to March, Duke doesn't falter unless it's something.
Or Louisville. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, there's some really good teams in that ACC conference. I really do think that it's going to be a head scratcher. Who do you think is going to win it all as we kind of move on to the NBA?
Truthfully, I think it's going to be Auburn as much as I want to say MSU.
Okay.
It really depends how well, where the teams that we're high on, but that are also good, that are also sneaky too, like your MSU, that could be a 2 or 1 or a 2.
Yeah, I could see that.
You could also say like a Tennessee is a 1 or a 2. Like the teams that could be a 1 or a 2.
So you don't think, I mean, obviously it's March Madness. You think there's going to be any outright upsets out of the 1 or 2s? Do you think it's going to be a Cinderella story
right now?
Yeah. I mean, even bracketology saying Alabama is the first team out, which I kind of agree with.
First team, wait, what? Oklahoma, you mean, right?
Oklahoma, yeah. My bad. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a crazy take from you.
Looking at it right here. So, if we look at Bama's bracket,
yes,
they would have to play. Houston's their 1.
Okay. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Wisconsin's their 3, and I think Wisconsin could take care of them there.
Yeah.
But if you look at the West, you see who Michigan and Michigan State have?
Yeah, that's
the
tough.
Same bracket.
Which is going to be cool if they play each other in the big tournament.
But I think it'd be very. I think it's hard. I want to see Tennessee at a 2.
One of my future questions here. So, despite winning or losing this monumental tournament for Tom Izzo, do you think he'll retire at the end of the season?
I don't know, because the way everything's happening right now, and they're like, "Thank you, coach. Thank you, coach." It seems like something's gonna happen and that we don't know about. Which would
it's gonna make. I mean, that's gonna be sad if he does.
I think if he does, it's gonna. I think it really depends how the season goes.
Okay.
Because he might. I mean, if he goes out on top, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But I also think there's also something to prove. I mean,
I do.
We knew it with Saban. It was going to happen.
Yeah, it was looking like it was, and especially with the loss to Michigan like that.
Well, exactly. I was going to say we kind of knew something was coming.
Yeah.
With this, I want to say similar, but at the same time, this doesn't seem like a farewell story as well.
I mean, if they win the national championship, then I would retire.
That's where I'm leaning towards too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know, because
speaking of retirement, okay. So you talk about great basketball coaches. You talk about great basketball players. You talk about the dynamic duo, Batman and Robin, Luka LeBron.
That's
you think
not Batman and Robin?
Well, I mean, they're looking hot, man. They're looking. I mean, both of them are looking good. LeBron's aging. I mean, as much as people say, "Oh, he's not the man," he's 40 years old and he's 12th in scoring, 24th in rebounds, 6th in assists.
Well, if you touch LeBron wrong, it's a foul. That's probably why.
I mean, but the dude is putting up numbers that he consistently throughout his entire career. My question to you, I think we've kind of asked this question the entire length of his career. Is he the GOAT?
No, not a chance in hell.
Why? What's your reasoning?
Michael Jordan.
So just Michael, just the fact that
I mean, the stats put it to itself. I mean, the dude's won 2 DPOIs.
Yeah.
The dude's got a great percentage of wins in the finals.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he had teammates there too, but at the same time,
LeBron James just surpassed 50,000 points. No player's ever done that.
Yes, but also too, Jordan played in an age where it was hard to score.
Yeah.
You had guys that were literal giants that could break the backboard.
Yeah, but my thing is
the league has gotten soft since LeBron's been in.
My thing is LeBron has done this consistently throughout his career. Right. He has not faltered at all.
All right, but put LeBron back in the 80s.
I think you dominate.
I don't think so.
Dude, he's 6'9", 250.
Correct. But also, all right, what was Jordan? 6'6", 250 as well, making guys twice his size fall.
Yeah, but I think
LeBron has benefited from the way the game is played, whereas Jordan revolutionized how we look at the game because the physicality of Jordan. Yeah, to quote his Last Dance, how he took things personally. He attacked you in ways that,
dude,
like,
all I'm saying is that the dude is a beast. And
I'm not discrediting that.
Okay,
but
so
I feel
where do you put him at in the rankings then?
I'll still put him top 5, obviously.
Not 1 or 2?
No.
Who's your second then? Kobe?
No. Kobe's 3.
Okay.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, my guy.
But LeBron beat the record though.
Correct, but at the same time, Kareem has revolutionized the game as a center position. The fact that a center,
but LeBron can play all 5 positions. I think LeBron has revolutionized the game. We see guys like Danny Wolf. I'm not making that comparison at all.
I was going to say,
but like,
don't go there.
He's a guard in a forward's body. I mean, he is an excellent player with the ball.
Agreed. But think about this.
Like you got
LeBron, physicality. Think about it this way: the 80s and 90s, the minute we switched to the LeBron era, the game got soft. LeBron finally was physical in the first part of his years. Yeah. But like then it's gotten softer and softer and softer to the point where it's
I don't think LeBron was the main catalyst in that though. You got to look at guys like Stephen Curry, the Splash Bros, taking the 3. I mean, LeBron early in his career would always go in, play the paint, and his drop step game was the best.
But that's the thing. Early LeBron, those weren't fouls.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And then as he's gotten older, if he does that,
I think the game turned into a 3-point barrage, and we see it today. And that's why I think the college game is so much better. But the fact that you're looking at LeBron James is not the GOAT.
I still won't.
I mean, I don't understand how you do that.
I'm an old head.
Okay, I mean, the dude has championships. He did something that Jordan never did. Jordan never came back from a 3-1 lead in the finals. And led his team, he single-handedly led his team to the finals. Well, Jordan always had guys around him. Usually, sometimes it's just LeBron. Besides the Heat era, that championship that he had, he went up against the super team, the team that won the most games.
He had Kyrie in that.
Yeah, but Kyrie is like one player. They had, KD, the Klay Thompson, the Splash Bros. And
but Jordan, if you think about it this way, Jordan had teams that he had to compete against.
Yeah, yes, but he had Pippen. He had Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr
was good in
Rodman. He had 2 really good centers during his times at the Bulls. So I'm saying,
but think about it this way: you had to go against sometimes teams that were all God squads.
LeBron had to go against Stephen Curry and the Warriors when they were in the Splash Pro era with a KD. I mean, I don't understand this argument. You're saying that Jordan had to go against these epic teams. So did LeBron. I think even more so because it's a scoring league. So I think, yes, the physicality of the game has changed. Yes, the game has changed from that aspect. But I still think that LeBron should be in that GOAT conversation and shouldn't be poo-pooed.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I still will, until LeBron can prove to me.
So what is it for you then? Is it the championships? Is it the defensive players of the years? Is it the scoring record, which he's broken wide open? He's the first player to 50,000. I don't think we'll ever see a player get to 50,000 again.
But that's the thing. What we saw back when it was back in the day, it's more prowess on team basketball.
Yeah. I mean, I still think LeBron James is arguably the best player in the NBA, night in, night out. I still think
this day and age, or
this day and age, still throughout his entire career, I think you don't count out this guy from the playoffs. I think if he goes back to the playoffs, which I think they will, with the aspect of adding a guy like Luka, them figuring out how to play in these games. I mean, I still think he's King James. He is the GOAT.
I'm not going to say he's not the best player then.
Okay.
I'm saying, for me, I still think Jordan, due to the fact that also, too, loyalty plays a lot in this as well.
Oh, my God. All right.
But that's just me.
Here we go again. Okay.
I'm not saying he's anything less than 3. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But I still think Jordan has what it takes to. Yeah. It's like the Mahomes-Brady era.
Yeah.
Yes, Mahomes has been doing great things, but at the same time, there have been times where LeBron had really good teams.
Yes.
Where he absolutely fell completely on his ass.
Yeah.
And with Jordan kept showing that.
Yeah.
At the peak of his powers, I'm not losing.
But that's what's going to happen when you play more than 10 years in the league. Like, Jordan played a finite amount of years. I agree that the most
in a very physical.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I think
he probably could have played longer.
He probably could have. But my thing is that Michael Jordan, for those best 10, though he has the best 10-year stretch. He's the GOAT for the first 10 years of his career because he won so many championships, was so successful, so many MVPs, so many Defensive Players of the Year award. I'm saying longevity-wise, LeBron's the GOAT for that reason. He played longevity. He aged like fine
and then
wine.
I can give you a little more credit for it. Because you were saying greatest of all time, because think about it this way.
Well, he is the greatest of all time when it comes to the longevity of his career and playing over that. Yes. Yeah. Okay, but no, I think there's some people out there that think LeBron is the GOAT regardless of conversation.
Everyone thinks that, Max Kellerman.
Okay.
Think about it this way. Without Jordan, would we have...
I don't think so.
Would we have... this is a little off topic of sports, but shoes. All those shoes.
Yeah, no, and I think Nike and that crew right there did it right with that tennis. They thinking that tennis idea. I mean, we've seen some things from, example, like, that whole, do you ever see that movie?
Which one are you talking about?
It was about Jordan and the Nike shoe.
Oh, yeah.
With Matt Damon in it. That was a great movie. That was really cool to see kind of that thing come to fruition here and everything like that. But I really do think it's one of those things that, you look at squads like this and we talk about that argument of who's the GOAT.
I'll say this. In terms of longevity, yes. LeBron is there. But here's the thing. If we do also say this, Jordan also, if Jordan played in a different era, it might be different. The thing is, Jordan also played in probably arguably the most physical era of basketball we have seen to date.
Yeah, I agree.
The Malice of the Palace. We look at sometimes when he would shove players with his push-off. Guys wanted to punch him.
Yeah, fair.
And like stuff like that. I mean,
it was a different
era. And like, that's where I see it. It's like, if the era of basketball that LeBron plays in was physical that whole time, I don't think he would break the scoring record. That's the thing. You look at Kareem. Kareem was able to get all those points in the era of that violent stuff.
Now,
and before, where the centers were the dominant league.
Now, we talk about scoring records and we talk about like these great games. The push off in Utah where he hit the two, unbelievable. And we witnessed, I didn't witness because I went to bed, sadly. I should never have went to bed. We witnessed a historic game from James Harden last night in the Clippers.
There was a historic game?
Yeah. No, he for the 24th time in his career shot over 50 points. And he's getting up to that upper echelons near Jordan. Jordan's at 31, 50 games.
There's no way he's still...
No, he had a dominant game last night versus the Pistons. And he led the team. And I mean, that's the thing with, like, you look at the Clippers who are kind of comparison.
I'm sorry.
You do? Okay.
Houston, when he played for Houston, the little, I'm going to go step, and then shoots, like, that's a clear and obvious travel. That's clear and obvious travel.
Okay. But I mean,
no wonder he scored so much, because he's getting 5 feet of separation. Of course you're not going to.
Yeah.
Like, if you can be like, oh, I'm going to be like fun. Okay, cool. That's usually fine. And oh, by the way, I'm going to go again. And you're just like, why does this guy have like 4 feet of separation without
shooting the ball or dribbling it? Yeah, I get what you're saying. But he had a really good night last night. The Pistons lost. They're kind of going away from that 8-game win streak. They lost to the Jokic and the Nuggets a couple nights ago. They beat the Jazz down badly, and then they lost to the Clippers.
I would please hope you can beat the Jazz.
I mean, that was a dominant game from Detroit.
And the Jazz have only won 7 games all year.
I feel bad for them. They're the Detroit of 2 years ago. So, I mean, one of my things
I
is
wouldn't
that
feel so bad for them. It's the Jazz. It's just the the last
Yeah.
time they were good was back in the Jordan days. And I mean, it's a poverty franchise. The NBA has just turned a lot less entertaining. I mean, Harden did that, but like,
you know, we talk about, you know, Michigan State obviously being that team that's the full, the full upper echelons of basketball, scoring and defense. I think the Pistons are that. They have a really energetic defense. But my question is for you: who is your second best player in the Pistons? You got Cade. He's obviously the king. You got Beasley, Thompson, and a few other guys.
Does he have to be healthy?
He doesn't have to be healthy. You think Ivy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, no. I mean, people making that argument.
I know he's injured, but like at the same time, when healthy, I mean, we saw it when he was playing with Purdue.
Okay.
The dude was electric for Purdue. If it wasn't for Zach Edey taking all the spotlight, I mean, that is a Jaden Ivey team.
Okay. Yeah, man. I fully agree. Now, let's NutraStack some picks here. I want to hear your dog of the week.
For me.
For you. Yeah. Let's go here. My thing here is I look at a guy like Cade Cunningham. You know, he's been consistent overall on the season. He's 11th in scoring. He's 3rd in assists. He's on a tear recently, scoring in, 37 points versus LAC, 29 versus Utah, 15 versus Brooklyn. And then Boston was the only notable game over, 20 points there. He kind of had a falter during the Denver, but he's had some pretty good games. He's got 10 assists in the last game. Like, one of my things is that if Cade's playing well, I think this team has a chance to win every night. Obviously, when you get a guy dropping 50 on you, it happens, and it's one of those things that, like, even in that Jokic game, he got a triple-double. So it's like the Pistons aren't losing to bad teams. They're losing to guys that are having like godly nights. And it's just like really cool to see. Who do you got for your dog of the week?
Honestly, I slipped my mind a lot, but I would say the freshman Jace Richardson. I mean, he's playing like his dad. I mean, we saw him at the beginning of the year, and I wasn't really like, I mean, I was high on him, but like, I wasn't like, oh, this guy's going to make the impact. I thought it was going to be more
for sure.
Jaden Akins, like they were going to be a good but not great team.
Yeah.
This guy has changed the culture. I mean,
I would agree.
You could say Cohen Carr too, because obviously there's never a Michigan State game that doesn't have a dunk reel.
Yeah, for real.
But I would say Jace Richardson. I mean, he's propelled this state team to be in sole possession of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
You win against Iowa tonight, and you have sole possession of the Big Ten and outright.
Definitely. All right, folks.
Regardless of the Michigan game.
Yeah, definitely. Well, folks, we'll be coming at you again next Thursday. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Obviously, we got into a little bit more of a discussion. We thought it'd be a little shorter. It's about right on time where we want it. So yeah, we want to thank you for tuning in and hope you enjoyed this episode. And look out for all of our draft knowledge coming in the next episode in the latest rendition of our NFL drafts. Thank you for joining the more broad show tonight, and we hope you enjoy.
Good night.